Oh, snap. We are back and we are going. What's up, guys? Thanks for joining me again. One thing I found out about podcasting, it's about really knowing your demographics and really knowing who's listening to you. And I've found so far that most of the listeners are, shocker, between the ages of, early 20s to maybe mid to late 30s. We have the occasional 40s in there, and then we have very few 50s and 60s. So I was like, all right, so we obviously need to target the younger audience. And I thought, what better way of doing that than to talk about baby boomers? Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. So big picture, I wanted to do a thing about all the different generations. Millennials, baby boomers, Gen X, freaking the great generation or whatever they're called. Generation Y, or Z, X, new. I wanted to do something on that to just show that every generation has had their share of troubles, has had their shares of tragedies, has had their shares of their own thing where, it's not like one generation has the ownership of like, man, I struggled the worst. So I wanted to really highlight the differences, but also the similarities between each generation. I thought that would be kind of cool. So that way, when some grandpa out there is going, oh, you damn millennials don't know shit. Get off your phone. And you're like, shut up, you fucking boomer. That way it's a little bit more thought goes into it than just hurling insults at each other, talking about how great things used to be and, how horrible we are now. So I don't know if that's something you'd be really interested in. If it is, let me know, please, so I can do that. I guess if you don't let me know, I guess I'll probably do it anyway because like 5 of you have reached out to me saying, oh, this would be cool, that would be cool. So those 5, I really appreciate you. Mean a lot to me. The other 3 that listen that don't say anything, I still really appreciate you. Just maybe wish you'd, I don't know, throw some ideas in there, huh? I don't know. Maybe offer to come on the podcast, huh? I don't know, man. One day, huh? There's a chair right there. You want to come sit in it? Sit in it. I don't know. So, yeah. Today, I will be talking about the, there's not really 10 on this list, but the top 10 biggest problems baby boomers are facing right now. So, I think it's not just baby boomers. I think we're all going to find that, I think a lot of us have the same problems that we're going to be facing. Maybe not now, but down the road. But for this episode, it will just be focusing on the baby boomers' problems. And no, shocker, number 1 is not millennials. So suck it, boomers. I wrote this little thing, which I basically already just told you, but I'll say it again. I wanted to highlight the differences and similarities between each generation. Everyone is so quick to hate on millennials or say, okay, boomer, that they don't even take the time to understand what they are saying, why they are the way they are, and what problems each generation has faced along the ways. Just because one generation didn't have a Vietnam or the other didn't have a 9/11 doesn't mean that one has the right to pull the it was worse card. This specific episode will be on what boomers are facing right now. Let me know what you think and what we can do to help. So, first of all, what is a baby boomer? I'm sure you guys are like, I don't really know. I just know that's the old people that talk shit. Well, actually, you're right. But also, baby boomers were born between 1946 and 1964. So they were born in the most prosperous years after World War II. So, all those horn dog soldiers came back and were like, damn, lady, get over here. And then boom, 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 popped out a few kids. Product of a baby boomer right here. Some of the most pressing problems are saving enough for retirement and caring for their elderly parents. So some of you still have grandparents out there. Some of you do not. So, yeah. But you probably realize that your parents are kind of facing that struggle right now. Like, oh shit, what do we do with grandma? She's kind of losing her stuff. Do we put her in a home? Do we keep her with us? I don't know. Got to put her leash on her because she wanders off sometimes. But you know, that's the shitty thing, I guess, about growing old. It's like, oh my God, what do? I didn't plan well. But baby boomers now are expected to live longer than previous generations, and it's giving them anxiety about retirement, which is actually kind of hilarious because they were raised thinking that anxiety and depression and other mental illnesses were just a joke. So I wonder if their parents would just tell them to like rub sand in it and like get over it, or, you know, suck it up. Suck it up, Junior. They're having to work longer to support themselves. Also, possibly being the last generation to be able to rely on Social Security, because that bad boy is getting sucked dry. Many boomers have to care for their aging parents. Well, my God, it's like what I just said, right? Not only do they have to think about their own retirement plans, they're also facing the realization of their parents becoming unable to care for themselves. This not only affects the financial aspect, but emotional as well. As medical bills stack up for the parents, a lot of them might not want to go to the doctor for fears of having their own bills mount up. Oftentimes, nursing homes or live-in nurses are needed, but most are not always covered by insurance, and Social Security is definitely not enough to compensate. So, yeah, some of these live-in homes, man, are ridiculously expensive, and we're talking like freaking like hotel suite prices. So I was looking at one. So it's $300 a day. And I'm like, how the hell do you even, one, justify that? Because, you know, you'd like to not think that the typical nursing home is, oh, the parent or grandparent or whatever is just stuck in their room watching TV all day, laying in bed. Well, no, it really is. And the ones that are not are the ones that are more than $300 a day. So imagine that. But you are spending so much money just to be in an environment that, you know, they give you your meals and give you your medicine. And then I guess if you have more severe problems, they change your diaper or, you know, something like that. But the fact that it costs that much just to have someone babysit you is horrible. And, you know, there's those adult daycares. I don't know if you've seen them. I've seen a few vans like driving around. It's like a school bus for the elderly. If anybody's selling a short bus or a school bus, I would love to buy one. So hit me up if you know. But that sucks. So not only do you have to worry about, damn, what am I going to do with grandma or mom or dad in their case, but what am I going to do for myself because I'm too busy blowing all my money on them. So I don't even know. I don't know what the answer is to that. Boomers also need to plan for their own care when they get older. After the baby boomers have spent all their money on their parents' care, they have to turn their attention to themselves. Do they continue the cycle of having their kids take care of them? Maybe. Do they pass that burden on to them? Or do they max out their credit cards and go out with a bang? You know it's serious when you have to start planning your own funeral. Like, oh my God, what casket am I going to have? Am I going to be cremated? Oh man, this is a lot of money just to spend on me dying. And that is so shitty that you have to plan that. But I mean, I guess if you plan it now, that might be better. So that way your family members don't have to plan that when they're trying to grieve and be like, oh my God, we just lost her. We just lost him. So I don't know. That's a real shitty situation that you have to put yourself in, but I think it's kind of inevitable. And you know what also sucks? It's like, do you have a life insurance policy? Okay, if you do, I would say probably don't tell anybody, because then it's like, oh, it's okay if grandpa dies because, man, I got like 200 grand coming my way. And at that point, you're almost kind of like rooting for them to die. And that sucks. So it's like, keep that shit a secret. So that way it's like they're sad as fuck. But then, boom, surprise, hey, took care of you. But even that, though, the price of life insurance is ridiculous. And then do you go whole life insurance? Do you go term life insurance? Okay, term, that's going to run out when I'm 65. And when am I going to die? I don't know. Probably after 65, hopefully. Knock on freaking wood. But then, okay, whole life. Oh my God, that's like $300 a month. I can't afford that. I'm already broke trying to live now. So I don't know. It's like another man-made trap that you fall into trying to plan for that stuff. As boomers age, some are experiencing health issues and the risk of rising cost of health care. Well, that's totally true, and it's probably not getting any cheaper because, unfortunately, the healthcare lobbyists and the insurance lobbyists are infected in Washington and contribute to everything and is in everyone's pocket. And the idea of socialized medicine, frightens a lot of people. I think you kind of need to. I don't understand why there's so many extremes. Like what there, it seems like no one has the thought process of, oh, I can be kind of in the middle. I can have a little bit of both sides. I can take some ideas from the left, some ideas from the right, and kind of make a little hybrid of it to maybe make both of them happy. But, maybe they don't because maybe it's all a show. Maybe they don't because there's too much money in it. Maybe, oh, yeah, I would like to pass universal health care, but then I don't get all that money from Blue Cross. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I don't think socialized medicine is the answer to that. I think the idea of a universal healthcare option being available would be awesome, but then forcing you to take that and taking away your own private choice, I don't think is the answer. If you'd like to talk about that, that'd be great. I would love to have a talk about what you think. If you'd like that, there's a seat right there that I'd love to have your little booty in, or your big booty. Or we won't talk about your booties and you could just sit there and we can talk. That would be really nice. But some of the baby boomers are already in their early 70s. And for some, health insurance is outrageously high. And health issues such as cancer often get in the way of planning for retirement. The monthly rates of medical insurance, in addition to the copays and deductibles, are going to make going to the doctor very, very expensive. Boomers will enter their senior years with higher rates of obesity and diabetes than previous generations, which is probably due to the fact that fast food is cheaper and more available. Less healthy options have become more mainstream. I think you really don't pay for the. I guess you save money by not paying for the convenience, which is really dumb. It's like, oh my God, if only I could have something really quick and good for me. Well, that doesn't exist. And if it does exist, it's not cheap. So it's so much easier to drive home at the end of the day, get that burger, get that Coke. Oh, but let me make it a Diet Coke because I'm trying to be good with my Big Mac and 20-piece chicken nugget. Their parent, it's weird because their parents, so the baby boomers' parents, so your grandparents or great grandparents, if you look back, it was like always home cooked meals. I know for me, my grandparents, every time we went over their house, okay, boom, my grandma was cooking something. I don't recall really ever eating out with my grandparents. And if we did, it was probably because someone was like in the hospital, or it was like a special occasion or a special little treat. But nowadays it's totally reversed. It's like, oh, we eat out most nights, and then some nights I'll cook because Daddy's not tired, and that's such a shitty excuse. And then it's like I said, if you're eating out and you're eating healthy, man, that's not cheap. So it's just another man-made trap. The majority of baby boomers think that their savings will not last through their retirement. So that fucking blows. I worry about that, and I'm not even close to retirement. But a recent study by Insured Retirement Institute, so that sounds legit and believable. So they found that only 23% of those that were polled think that they have done enough or have enough for retirement. 23%. Damn. So that means 77% of those mofos did not think they have enough or did not think that they prepared enough. Only 54% have any retirement savings at all, and only 40% have calculated how much money they would need to retire. And how do you even calculate that? Like, oh man, okay, I'm 70 now. What if I live till I'm 85? Okay, do I need to only plan for 15 years? Oh shit, what happens if you live to 95 or 100? Oh fuck, I blew it all. I didn't plan for that. Perhaps if it was a required course in school, maybe like I mentioned in the last episode of the top 10 list, maybe you should check that out on YouTube or on Spotify or on an Apple Podcast. Any of the links I always send out, you can just click on that bad boy. Boom! Right there. And you can hear me talking out my ass again. But maybe if it was taught in school, maybe if they emphasized how important that was, more people would do it. And they would be higher than 23% of the next generation polled think that they've done a good enough job. But it's not a required class. Most people don't think they have enough. And even if they did plan early enough, is the money going to be enough? You know, sacrificing your whole life so that way you don't have to worry about the last 10 or 15 years of your life. That sucks too. Man, why can't we all just be rich? That would be sweet. Working longer is not a realistic option for everyone approaching retirement age. You know, that's my mindset now. Okay, I want this. All right, if I just save up this much, or if I do this much extra jobs, or pick up this side job, I can get this much money in this amount of time. But that's not always the case for elderly people. And not so much elderly people, but like really anybody over the age of like 70. The retirement age has changed dramatically over the years, but not in the way you might think. You know, you always hear, oh, they're talking about pushing the Medicare or retirement age back a little bit, but check this out. In 1910, the average age of retirement was 74 years old, which is really effing weird because you know what the life expectancy was when you were born in 1910? 50. So you're having freaking people retiring at 74 and they were only expected to live till 50. So horrible comparison. I know you're like, damn, 1910, what was that? The Titanic was not even at the bottom of the ocean yet. But so in 1940, the average retirement age was 70. In 1970, it was 65. In 2000, it was 62. So what does that mean? Maybe it means that people finally realize that they don't have to work until the day they died, or they want to enjoy the remaining years of their life, or they just physically can't handle it. But that's not always an option because, as previously stated, most older Americans do not have enough saved to retire. Many are staying employed far into their 70s, at least in a part-time position. And the problem with working longer isn't always physically possible. A lot of the jobs are also being automated, so the need for a 70-plus-year-old in a workplace is slowly fading out. Learning a new skill or dealing with learning technology is also a challenge. You ever try and watch your grandparent work an iPhone or an iPad? It's like painful to watch. So what do? You help them out. You help them out because you're there. So just imagine that in the workplace, trying to train somebody on a cash register or to deal with computers. It makes it so difficult. And whether that's fair or not, I think age plays a huge role in finding jobs. Ageism is definitely a real thing, especially if you're in a younger work environment, especially if you're in a more fast-paced environment. You really want someone that can keep up. And is that fair? No. Is that understandable? Yeah, to me, totally. But again, I can see both sides on a lot of things, and I'm sure many of you heard that right now, and you're like, oh, you fucking pig. But, I mean, that's just the way it is. And that sucks. But the labor force is also in a transition because some roles are being automated and outsourced, like I said. Andrew Yang had a big thing in his candidacy for the Democratic nomination about automating jobs and getting paid for the information that we're just freely giving away to companies and in the form of a universal basic income. And a lot of people kind of scoffed at that and rolled their eyes and said that's not realistic. But then, boom, just a few months later, we get hit with a pandemic. Tons of people are out of jobs. And I'm sure, an extra grand, extra $1,500 a month really could have helped a lot of people. So, and that sucks because it's only going to get, I don't want to say worse because, I guess it's also evolving, but then also at what expense? And you think about it, the most automated job is manufacturing, and some even outsource to either other countries, robots. And after World War II, the biggest industry that grew was manufacturing. So over the years, they found that machines could assemble a car faster and better than a human being. So all those baby boomers, now that we're in manufacturing plants, we're in Ford, the whole Detroit automotive industry is totally gone. And you look at any manufacturing company today, or any car manufacturer, it's just an assembly line of robots with 3 or 4 humans monitoring the robots. But then you look at those humans, and they're not the 70-year-old manufacturing workers that were there before. They're the young engineers. They're the young, computer people that can fix it in case something happens. But when you lose your job in your 60s and 70s, it's really hard to pick up a new trade or to even go back to school to learn a new trade. And I think that's where the benefit of those courses that are a few months long, really help those people, because not only do they not have years to spend at school trying to get a degree, the trades are also an easier way to transition back into the workplace. But then again, you're faced with that ageism when you try and apply for a job, and it's like, oh my God, I look at this resume. When did he graduate? What? Whoa, 1978? What the hell? How old is this guy? So ageism is a real thing, and I don't think going back to school is a realistic option for these 60s and 70-year-old people. This often forces them to an early retirement that they really were not prepared for. They were barely, or maybe not even prepared for a retirement, but now they're forced in an early retirement because their skills are no longer needed at their job. They can't go back to school. They don't want to go back to school. They can't afford to go back to school. So many factors go into that causes them to early retire. And then what are they going to do? Use Social Security? Oh, that's definitely not enough to survive. But I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. But lastly, boomers who plan to retire in their mid-60s to early 70s need to have enough money saved up for 1 to 2 decades, which is much more than they had to in the past. So, again, my point earlier, you try and retire at 70. Okay, how long are you going to live for? 15 years, 20 years? Just trying to figure out how to calculate that and how much you would need, what steps you need to have accomplished prior to retiring. Okay, what do I need paid off? Do I need my house paid off? That's why you see so many old people driving their old cars. It's like, oh, they just can't afford to get a new one. So Granny's still driving around in her 04 Camry, and she could barely see over the steering wheel. But since baby boomers are living longer than previous generations, which is 81 years for women and 76 years for men. So I guess, you retire at 70, you're going to die at 76. That's not bad. I only have to plan for 6 years. That's fine. But how do you save for up to possibly 20 years? How can you plan accordingly in case something happens? What happens if you get cancer? What happens if your spouse dies and you have to then carry the burden on your own? What do you do? What is the best thing you can do to sail off into the sunset, to celebrate and enjoy the remaining years of your life? And it's obviously too late to start a 401k when you're at 60. And Social Security is running out now as we speak. So baby boomers are probably the last generation to enjoy Social Security, which I would assume back in the day it was probably viewed as a form of socialism, but it's worked out so far since then. But I mean, what do? Do you, again, pass the burden off to your kids? Is that fair to them? Okay, it wasn't fair to you that you have to take care of your parents, and now, oh shit, what do I do? But then it's almost like culturally expected to take care of your parents when they get older. So I don't know. I don't know if that's the same cycle we just keep repeating. I don't know if there's a better way. If you think there's a better way, you freaking step up and speak up, baby. Because I need to know, because my kids, I don't know if they're going to take care of me. But I think, like I said at the beginning, every generation's going to have their obstacles that they're going to face, and their own 9/11s, their own Vietnams, their own World War IIs. It's just a matter of how you deal with it. And like I said in the last podcast, change has a considerable psychological impact on you, and your mindset has everything to do with how you react to it. So look at this as a challenge, and how you're going to deal with that challenge is up to you. So my advice, call your kids and be really nice to them, because I can't save up, and they're going to have to take care of me, because I changed their diapers and now they're going to have to change mine. So hope you guys enjoyed it. I try to be quick so that way you didn't have to listen to me for too long. Really appreciate you guys watching, listening, anything, sharing. Shout out to all of you that help me and encourage me and are there for me. Really appreciate it. If you can, share it with a friend. This might not be the best option or this best episode to share. Maybe share it with your parents. Just tell them probably not to listen to the previous episodes, because they probably won't like that. Grandparents, I really don't know if they would like any of this. But I mean, if you have any friends, share it with them. That would be really great. If you have any questions, if you'd like any topics discussed, hit me up. Let me know. Social media, it's at Podcast Semi. Facebook, I'm there too. Text messages, I'm there too. I'm not going to give my phone number out, but if you know it, you know it. If you know someone that knows me, they know it. Pass it on. Again, if you would like to be on, that'd be freaking awesome, because talking to myself is still really weird. So I would like to talk to you. If you'd like, and if you wouldn't mind, if you could subscribe on YouTube, I would like that. Hit that notification bell so you know when I post a new video. So that way you could see me, I guess. Ugh. No, you're right. Just probably listen to it on Spotify or podcast. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you got semi-qualified. And I'll see you next time. Love you guys.